Oh, there we go. Welcome everyone to the May 21st, 2026 Climate Advisory Commission meeting. Like to call meeting order 6:04 p.m. not a.m. And I believe orders of the day for so is this me to cover this? This is
I think it's basically just like the agenda or
right.
Yeah.
So everyone should have the agenda in front of them where we'll enter the public record orders of the day, have an open forum for the public, go through our consent calendar, approve current minutes, our look ahead and Brown Act refresher, and then followed by the new business as outlined in the agenda. So with that, I think we do verify that we have a quorum and do I do the
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Manny McKelly,
Here.
Bill DeVincenzi,
Present.
Glenn Garfunkel,
Present.
Macwin Savio, here. Lucia Marquez, here. Eric Chad,
Here.
Okay. Karen Nelson,
Present.
Victor Niemeyer, Christine Nguyen,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry, thank you. Philip Remaker,
Present.
and Ryo Wakabayashi.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Any items for the public record?
No.
Okay. Then great. So at this point, I'd like to invite the members of the public who come to speak on any topic that they have they wish to bring up to the advisory commission. And each member can have 2 minutes on a topic of their choosing. Is anybody interested in taking advantage of the open forum? Okay, seeing no interest, I will move ahead to the consent calendar and the minutes for March 19th, which I did there. Were these attached here or they were emailed to us?
They're linked in the agenda.
Okay, linked in the agenda.
Yeah.
So I had if you should review them in from your email or through the connection. It says, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 19th? Or any corrections? Okay, so I recognize Glenn as for first approve the minutes.
Second.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Last week's minutes are approved. With that, I would like to go ahead to the 6-month look ahead and attachment A. Are you doing that, Anne?
Yeah, that's fine. You'll see the 6-month look ahead is a little bit sparse right now. We're, coming up on the end of the fiscal year. So, usually council and committee meetings are, not held during the month of July. So probably after that, we'll have more items to add. We're still sort of waiting on the budget to finalize some of the items that might be moving forward. But, yeah, we have a few, I have the July meeting on here, TBD, because we'll be talking about that today. And then we do have our energy and water building performance ordinance status update going to T&E on June 8th. And then there's also the Move San Jose Plan annual report for DOT, who's also doing an update today. That's June 8th. And then our Climate Smart Champion Awards, which all of you will send a formal invitation, but all of you are invited. They'll be recognized at our council meeting, followed by a reception. So more details to come on that as well.
And the July date's not set. Sorry, go ahead.
Good question. Yes. Will there be any update this year on the data center effort?
There actually, I know there's been a lot of requests. So there's been some impromptu updates going to council. But a lot of that is through the city manager's office. So we're not always looped in. Sometimes they'll ask us a few questions. I know they've been responding to public comments. But I don't actually have any dates upcoming for them. I don't know.
Okay. Well, one request is maybe, I understand the city council, whatever the development office is sort of handling that, but I assume they have to be working with
energy,
the CCA.
Mm-hmm.
I assume. So maybe if those guys have anything to say.
From energy, I know our procurement team is having to do like forecasting and stuff like that. So there may be some information from them.
Yeah, that's what
I can.
Okay. If we can get some comments there.
And then question on data centers, you said.
Well, within a purview of our commission here, the clean energy, sounds like clean energy can talk about procurement outlook.
Right. Right. And I also encourage anybody, if they can, I found it enlightening to go to the Transportation and Energy Commission meeting to sort of see the city council in action around that. So it's an enlightening meeting to go to if you can fit it onto your calendar, so you can see some of the mechanics of what's happening downstream of us heading towards the city council. So with that said, I'd like to hand over to our refresher.
Hi, I'm Bill Charlie. I'm with the city attorney's office, and we're going to do a quick Brown Act refresher today.
And we're going to hold it 15 minutes.
All right. So we're going to start with charter code policies, then the rules of order, the Brown Act itself, and then I'm going to briefly touch upon the PRA and conflicts of interest. So, Section 204 of the city's charter states that the citizens of San Jose expect and must receive the highest standard of ethics from all those in the public service. City officers and employees must be independent, impartial, and responsible in the performance of their duties and accountable to the members of the public. So, Chapter 208 of the Muni Code pertains to boards, bureaus, and commissions. And broadly, it defines the commission's functions, powers, and duties. A quorum is set as a majority of the total seats filled or vacant. So for our purposes, it's 6. Votes are a majority of those present. And there's an automatic resignation from members upon unexcused absence from 3 consecutive regular meetings, or 20% of total regular meetings in a calendar year. But there are obviously excused absences, such as member's illness or death of a member's spouse, partner, parent, child, dependent, away on other city business. So city policy O-4 is the city's consolidated policy governing boards and commissions. And that lays out the requirements of the commissioners. Those include things like filing an oath of office, signing the code of ethics, and completing the city's mandatory training session within their first year of appointment. It also outlines the commission's governance and operations, and provides a code of conduct and responsibilities of commissioners. And for your attendance to be counted at a meeting, you have to attend at least 50% of the length of the meeting. You'll want to notify the secretary in advance for any excused absences. And now the role of the chair under policy O-4 is run meetings in an orderly, efficient manner, manage conflicts, keep discussion on topic, stick to the agenda, move through the items timely, and conduct meetings in accordance with the rule of order and bylaws. So we do want to place items on the council agenda with recommendation on topics within the scope of authority set forth by council, in accordance with the rules, resolution, and within the commission work plan. We do want to use city stationary email only for official business. We do want to make requests to staff through our designated council committee, which is transportation and environment. We don't want to use your title to make personal political endorsements. We don't want to interview candidates for political office or endorse such candidates. We don't want to contact city consultants outside a commission meeting unless authorized. And we don't want to represent the city or commission before other non-city entities without council approval. Don't want to accept money or favors for performing your city duties. You don't want to use confidential information. Don't discriminate. Don't participate in discussions if you have a real or perceived personal bias or conflict of interest.
Bill,
Yes.
if you're attending let's say a city sponsored event, We get invited every now and then to the arts, and is it okay to identify myself as a,
Yeah, as long as you're not discussing city business and you're not trying to use that in any influential way, but if you want to put it on a resume, a biography, or on your name tag there, that's fine. So letters to the council committee, that's T&E, are through the commission secretary. And letters to the non-city entities are through the commission secretary, but only upon approval of the council committee. That's T&E again. So if you want to send a letter to council, you go through T&E. And if you want to send a letter outside, you're going to still go through T&E. And they have to approve it. So city policy 0-36, and these are all on available online on the website. There's a link for all of our city policies. This is the council commission code of conduct. And the key provisions are, you need to make very clear that you are speaking in your personal capacity when speaking or writing publicly on matters within the purview of the commission, unless authorized to speak on the commission's behalf. Do not use your commission title unless you're speaking on the commission's behalf. Resume, biography, emails, fine. Commissions may not independently support or oppose state or federal legislation, but shall be free to make recommendations on such legislation to the city council through the rules committee. The pertinent rules of order for the commission's meetings are found in our bylaws.
So could we go back to that? Yeah, the last one. Given that we work a lot, obviously, with the clean energy, and they will review and comment on state bills especially. And I've had the opportunity to once in a while work with them. Where's the fine line there? If I'm working with them and are they all automatically, before they make a comment on state legislation, did they go through the rules committee?
So that hasn't come up in my time here yet. We haven't brought that to council yet. So we haven't acted on any, we're independently acting on legislation, but since they're not an advisory commission, they're able to go and opine before council and make recommendations on that.
Maybe that's what they're doing. I'm just not, privy to that part of the process.
So my understanding here is that as a commission, we can't take a position and announce it. We can only pass it to the council through the Transportation and Environment Committee.
That's
We
exactly.
cannot independently use something in letterhead saying the commission makes this recommendation. We don't make a recommendation to anybody
Right.
except to T&E, who in turn makes it to the city council.
Right. The commission could not say we have a position on SB 339.
Right. Each individual commissioner can, but only in their personal capacity, not using the title of the commission
Correct.
as part of that personal capacity.
But as an advisory role, you are able to express your recommendation, and then that would be taken up with T&E. So, rules of order found in our bylaws, and our bylaws reference our muni code, council policy, and Rosenberg's rules of order. And here's basically a distillation of those. So we establish a quorum, we note absences for the record, we note arrivals and departures for the record because that can affect votes. We announce agenda item number and subject. We invite staff and commissioners to present the item. We ask members of the commission if they have questions of clarification. Invite public comments. And then we invite a motion. We announce who made the motion, announce who seconded. After the vote must be verbal. We're not going to be showing on a public display screen, but we should announce the vote results and who voted no or abstained. Turning to the Brown Act. General rule, all meetings must be open to the public, and this applies to any legislative body, decision-making or advisory. So that includes this commission. There's an exception for single-purpose temporary ad hoc subcommittees formed solely of less than a quorum of the legislative body. But there's some rules pertaining to that, and I know that we had some questions about ad hoc committees previously. So our sunshine resolution limits ad hoc committee terms to less than 6 months. But the Brown Act also recommends, and we ratchet this up more than the Brown Act, so we also comply with the Brown Act. The committee must be purely an advisory committee with no decision-making authority. Committee must be composed solely of less than a quorum. In this case, it'd be 5 or less. The committee must not have continuing subject matter jurisdiction. So an ad hoc committee couldn't be formed to say, advise us on all upcoming legislation, and then for 6 months, and then the next 6 months, advise us for all upcoming legislation. That would circumvent the policy behind this. And the committee must not have a meeting schedule fixed by formal action of the commission. So what's a meeting? A meeting is any congregation of a majority of the members of a legislative body at the same time and location to hear, discuss, deliberate, or take action on any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission in this case. What's not a meeting? Individual contacts by members of the public, attending a conference, attending an open publicized community meeting, attending open and notice meeting of another body. But watch out for serial meetings. I'll get to those in a second. Attending a social function, staff briefings. So the prohibited meetings are serial meetings, and there's two types here. There's the daisy chain, where member A talks to member B, who then texts the member C about the same topic, because that's prolonging it. That's making a majority. And then the hub and spoke, where member A talks to member B, and then talks to member D about the same subject.
So this is if member C, if it was a quorum of 3, then these bullets are. But if with a quorum, I mean, we can have 5 members. You can have a daisy chain up at 5 before you violate the rules, right?
No, because it would be the quorum, right? So we need 6.
You got 5 and you don't have 4.
Yeah. In any case, we want to avoid it. Just
I mean, if there's an ad hoc
Right.
group,
that's fine.
let's say 4 members in the ad hoc, they can email each other. Right.
Right.
Okay.
But they would need to keep it there, and they could not have that going to somebody not on the ad hoc who would then
Right.
disseminate.
As long as they don't violate the, let's see, before.
Right.
Reach this.
Right.
So
So I guess I should have had 5 members in these examples. Yeah, but
and not F.
yes.
What if you are trying to invite other members of the commission to a public event that is one of those covered events, but that is related to the work of the commission?
I think your attendance there is fine. When you say invite them, you're actually going to be inviting them, or
Yeah,
you're
like
forwarding.
now that you are sending like to different community organizations, I think it's beneficial to have represented.
Yeah, that's fine as long as you're not discussing city business.
And if we're getting invited to this awards thing, and more than 6 of us show up,
That's not considered official business. You're just there having a good time.
I mean, my understanding is the essence of this is that you don't come up with a unified position without a public discussion of it, and therefore overwhelm other members that were not part of the discussion.
Yeah.
The whole point is not that essentially secretly established forums that overrule the remainder of the committee. So,
Exactly right.
but it's 2 minutes left if you. That's
So
what we need, like, give you a little grace, but
Thank
yeah, too, we'd appreciate it.
thank you, Chairman. So the requirements for the agenda is a brief general description of each item business. It should be less than 20 words, but there needs to be enough detail to allow a person to understand what is going to be discussed. No discussion or action of items not posted on agenda. Comments by commissioners regarding unagendized items are only allowed as follows, provided there is no discussion of action. You can briefly respond to public comment, ask questions for clarification, refer item to a staff. You can make a brief report on your activities and a brief announcement. So this is an example of an agenda item that went to T&E. This was our work plan update. So the basic rules for public access are: do not discuss commission business with a majority outside of a noticed public meeting. No serial meetings directly with other members or indirectly through intermediaries. Use caution with reply all and social media. During meetings, do not discuss anything not on the agenda. And the city's sunshine resolution has more stringent posting requirements than the Brown Act, so we have to keep these in mind. So the Brown Act for a regular meeting agenda only requires 72 hours of prior advance posting, whereas the city requires 7 days. Special meeting 24 hours, city requires 4 days. You can see that, but the idea is basically our sunshine resolution expands upon the Brown Act and makes the city more transparent.
Can we go back to one, because I find this could be easily difficult to avoid. If you go back to the previous slide where you talk about do not discuss anything not on the agenda, but we can ask it for people who are not members of the commission, that are the public that are here, they can bring up other items. So we're allowed to ask questions.
Clarify.
To clarify. And to me, that is a slippery slope of where you're asking questions. I'm not saying that we should, abide by that, but I'm just saying to everybody, it's an easy thing to get beyond asking questions to making comments. I think that would be tough.
Yeah, but I think that if you're mindful that you're limited to clarification, and if you want to act on that, then I think that you would bring it up for the next meeting and you'd agendize it. So that's how you would handle it.
Yeah.
And you're at time. So
Okay.
I agree.
2 more slides.
I'll count that as question and answer time, so we'll give you a little more room.
Thank you. Brown Act violations. So anyone can sue to challenge an action taken in violation of the Brown Act. And upon a successful challenge, the action will be invalidated. There's additionally potential criminal penalties for those who knowingly participate in a meeting that violates the Brown Act with intent to deprive the public of information. Now, quickly, I wanted to remind everyone that as a public entity, the city is subject to the Public Records Act. And that means that any writing containing information relating to the conduct of the public's business prepared, owned, used, or retained by this commission, by anything at San Jose, can be requested by the public, including personal emails and texts. Now, obviously, there's carve-outs for attorney-client privilege and things like that, but they're pretty few and far between. So keep in mind that anything pertaining to the city business is potentially subject to a Public Records Act request. Conflicts of interest, I'm just going to say, I think we all know you want to avoid the appearance of bias and even the optics of a conflict. And if an upcoming decision will present a reasonably foreseeable material financial impact, then you should complete a conflict of interest declaration and recuse yourself. And finally, for the new commissioners, I just wanted to mention that there's a mandatory training that needs to be completed within 1 year. I think Ann had previously sent that to you, 1 year of your appointment, and that'll walk through all these subjects in a lot more depth. Any questions? But I'm at time.
thank you. So thank you. I think this is very important. I'm proud that the city makes sure that all the
public meetings of all the commissions and the council are made public with significant warning to make sure that everything's published on the website. And all the public has a chance to weigh in. It's very important. Appreciate you doing this and driving this forward. So, the next agenda item we have is item 6 for old business. Do we have any old business that we need to address? Seeing none, let's move on to section 7 for the new business. Now, did we fix the order or did we?
The order doesn't need to change. It's actually just the attachment order. So
The attachment order
DOT
change.
will go first, and then San Jose Clean Energy is going to present on outreach.
So, who's doing the transportation update?
Andrea back there.
Okay. Hi, okay, you're on. You have 20 minutes. We'd love to hear from you. So. Oh, and just real quick, what do you expect from us at the end of your presentation?
Question, if you have any,
Do you expect us to make a statement on your behalf, or this is informative?
any questions or any recommendations that you need from the information I'm presenting to you?
So do you have a council recommendation at the end of your presentation? Okay, this is just strictly informative and
Just
feedback.
strictly informative.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you here. So you can hear me. I have a low volume. Good evening, commissioners and everyone, and thank you for having me. Today, I'll give a brief update on DOT's climate-related transportation work, share a few recent projects, and then highlight the mobility wallet pilot, which is our spotlight for tonight. Next, please. Unfortunately, transportation continues to be San Jose's largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. DOT is approaching this from a few different angles. We are working on better travel options, supporting cleaner vehicles and stronger transit connections, and making sure these options are more accessible and affordable to people. We understand no single project solves the problem on its own, so we're trying to focus on a mix of strategies that we believe will make it easier for people to get around safely, affordably, and with lower emissions. Next, please. This slide shows a few examples of recent progress across DOT work. As we have shared in previous presentations, many of these projects come out of larger area plans that involve not just a lot of technical work, but also depend on engagement with local communities, such as the recently adopted North San Jose Plan. For reference, to this day, DOT has 1,241 planned projects. So this is how we navigate this. Once plans are approved for some of these projects, we prioritize projects based on community and city goals, but we also look for the right opportunities to move them forward. That can include pursuing funding for complete street projects and public EV charging, coordinating with the paving schedule to add bikeways, or creating space for community-driven programs like electric microtransit. It is not a one-time step. It is an ongoing process shaped by funding, partnerships, timing, and community priorities. Our goal is that these projects combined will move us closer to a safer, cleaner, and more connected transportation system. Next page. The downtown Creeks Drive project is a good example of a near-term improvement that supports both safety and climate goals. We have a lot of protected bikeways coming to downtown in 2026. The Downtown Better Bikeways project is under construction now and includes concrete separation to better protect cyclists from traffic. The San Fernando project is also bringing pedestrian amenities and other safety improvements to the downtown network. We call these projects Quick Strike because they allow the city to move faster than a traditional capital project by using more flexible build materials and targeted funding at the beginning, while we pursue more permanent upgrades when funding becomes available. For climate goals, this type of project matters because it allows us to make improvements faster, and people are more likely to bike, walk, or connected transit when the streets feel safer and more comfortable. Next. Of course, this work comes with a lot of challenges. DOT is often balancing a lot of different needs on the street. People want biking, want transit, they want parking, loading, utilities, emergency access. And what that means is that we can not always deploy what we want to deploy. Funding is also a major challenge, especially when we think beyond construction and look at operations, maintenance, and long-term program support. We have some projects stalled precisely because when we come forward, we get the question of who's gonna fund the long-term operations of this new infrastructure. We're also navigating concerns around privacy and new technologies, especially as transportation systems rely more on data and cameras. So we're carefully reviewing how we manage equity with this new technology. And finally, we're always balancing immediate community needs with longer-term climate and mobility goals. And what that means, for example, is we may get a grant to install EV chargers, and we may come into the community and say, hey, we have this funding and we can install public chargers at your facility. And we may get the response of, we don't need EV chargers, right? Our communities don't have EVs right now. So we're always struggling to balance how we can provide the community the things that they think they need or they want today, and the things that we know they will need in the future. Because of these challenges, we have found that pilots can be really helpful. They give us a way to test ideas, learn from the community, to illustrate new ideas to the community, and understand what might be worth scaling in the future. One example of a pilot like this is the Mobility Water pilot that we wanted to bring forward today. This is a program that was launched in March this year as a 19-month program, and is serving right now since April 500 very low income participants in East San Jose. The program is funded through a $1.5 million grant, and participants receive between $150 and $205 per month to use toward transportation.
How long till I get there? Probably 45 minutes from when we leave here.
Oh.
So 7:15 or so.
Participants can use the funds for options like public transit, ride hail, bike share.
I can't hear you. I'm on the phone.
Sure, bro.
I'm sure. I'll try louder. Thank you. Needs are you for use of this?
Okay,
There we go.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, go.
Thank you.
Okay, so
We're
please
ready
make sure you're not
to
echoing. Yeah. Thank you.
So next please. Now you may think, what's the purpose of this pilot if at one point the money will run out? Well, there's a few things that we can learn from this type of program. We want to understand whether flexible transportation funding can help residents use the transportation options that already exist, or do we need to create new programs? We'll also be looking at which services people prefer, what barriers they still face for accessing those services, and what kind of support is needed to make those services work well. This could result in later efforts for things like enrollment support for bike share, information about complementary transit services, or the design of additional programs that can make rideshare more affordable. The goal here is to use pilot results to help us think about what could be sustained beyond the grant period and how future programs can be designed around real community needs. Next, please. And that concludes the update. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
I have a couple of questions, but first, what portion of this should we check to see if there's any public comment for this item?
I'm sorry.
For this item, what portion should we check? Where should we check to see if there are any public comment for this item?
Either way, we can usually we'll let the commissioners ask questions first and then see if there's any public questions, but we have to be too strict.
I didn't know the answer to that. Thank you. So, that's a good question. I appreciate it. Just one of the things you mentioned, are there, you mentioned emerging technologies. Are there rules for which kind of vehicles can access the bikeways?
Yeah, right now only basically cyclists can access the bikeways.
Only
We,
which?
yes, we don't have rules yet. For example, for delivery bots that might want to share, for example, the bikeways. We don't have a policy yet for sidewalk delivery. That's something that we've been working on for a while. Where we have a framework to work with private companies that want to test those types of services in the downtown. But right now, the bikeways are essentially for cyclists.
But I saw like, for example, you had the
The
electric
e-scooter.
scooters there.
The e-scooter are allowed to go on the bikeway as well.
And
Yeah.
class one e-bikes, or were e-bikes limited to 50
The
miles an
e-bike,
hour?
that's exactly the ones that go at 12 miles per hour that are pedal assist.
Yeah, so the pedal connected 50-mile-an-hour limit bikes, that's okay, that's the
Yeah,
that's the bikeway class vehicle
Correct.
allowed. And the current, and basically any assisted or electric mobility limited to 15 miles an hour is
I think it's San Jose's 12 miles.
12. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Is the issue with the little delivery bots a real sort of an emerging problem? Or
We've had interest for companies to deploy sidewalk delivery bots. I think those are less complex.
sorry, what?
The sidewalk delivery.
Sidewalk. Oh, I see.
There are larger delivery bots. I don't know if you've seen the DoorDash ones. And yeah,
I've only seen ones that are like
yeah. So
Cool.
they probably won't be most appropriate for absolutely every urban condition, but in some urban conditions they probably could operate under certain
just the
restrictions.
bike community. Representing this bike community opposed to the delivery bots and the bike lanes sort of situation.
I wouldn't say there's a consensus at this moment.
I think they've been reaching out to the bike community about this as well.
Got it.
So I know in the downtown area, there's been some success with closing down select streets and opening it up to more of like a pedestrian parkway almost in the businesses surrounding the area. So are there any intentions or plans underway to continue that in the downtown area, finding ways that streets can be selectively closed down and opened up to better pedestrian access, particularly with like all the big events that are happening from very close now in time, the World Cup going on. But are there any plans like that to expand?
Yeah, I think DOT focuses on supporting the bike event closures, Viva Calle, and things like that. Typically, street closures for pedestrianization is managed by the Office of Economic Development. I think they have the Alfresco program, and they're currently working on reestablishing the program with a different name. So I understand they're working towards that. What DOT is doing is planning to install mobility hubs on the street. So in areas where you typically would have a car space, we're trying to make installations to allow for things like some pedestrian amenities like seating and real-time transit information and bike parking, e-scooter parking, some sort of like a parklet with micromobility services and transit connections. And that could be spaces, right, for people to feel more like they can hang out on the street without necessarily closing the entire street. We're working on 2 of those for San Fernando. So once the San Fernando Complete Street project, all the bikeway work that they're doing right now is installed, we will install these mobility hubs on top, adjacent to transit stations to try to make the transit stations, the bus boarding islands a little bit nicer with shade. We are evaluating installing even e-bike solar chargers and things like that. So those are some of amenities we're working on, but complete street closures for pedestrianization and kinds of things require a lot of engagement with business owners and the business community. So I think that's something that the Office of Economic Development needs.
What's your general time frame for? I know there's a lot of wide array of things you're working on, but with city parklets. What's your implementation timeframe?
2027. So next year, we are contingent to the San Fernando project being completed. So once all those protected bikeways and pedestrian crosswalks are installed, we will install the mobility house. And the reason for that is this is all federal funding for these projects, and we cannot miss a match. So, you know, even for the San Fernando project, for example, there's a few concrete treatments that we will have to remove with the second project to install because we cannot miss and match federal funding sources. So unfortunately, we have those constraints.
Another question is, how has funding been in the past year or so for these sorts of transit improvements compared to the past? And is the transportation department evaluating any like new sources of funding to pursue that would help to either mitigate any losses from federal or just expand the work that we need?
Yeah, we've received quite a lot of funding in the past. I believe more than 17 million a couple of years ago on state federal funding combined. I would say, of course, with the new changes in the new administration, there's been some funding that has been suspended. So we've addressed that by either trying to access alternative funding sources, and we've been successful with some of those. But I think one of the challenges is that this funding also requires much funding. So we always prioritize programs that have a small percentage of much funding and that give us the maximum amount of flexibility possible. Federal grants are always much more complex. State grants are a little bit more flexible, so a little bit easier for us to implement. So yeah, we are constantly pursuing funding to advance this project.
In particular, I know there's been some amount of discussion about the funding from the SB1 Local Streets and Roads Program, how it's currently mostly used for just road maintenance and improvement projects that don't directly involve improvements for bike infrastructure, et cetera. Has there been any planning or discussion of whether that could funds such as those to better serve like complete street sorts of projects as well?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this round of SB1 funding will apply to complete street projects, but we are definitely advancing all of the complete projects that we have in the pipeline that come from the area plans. Those are some of the higher priority projects we have because those are safety projects as well as, projects that allow us to meet climate and BMT goals. So those are some of the priority projects that we're always looking for funding for.
Thank you. Any other further questions from commissioners? Any further questions from the public? Yes.
Thank you for the presentation, very informative. So returning to the street closures, I know you said that Office of Economic Development is something what handles that, but what about temporary street closures? So like some larger cities just kind of getting to know how the community would adjust to street closures. They have like every Sunday they close the streets. Would that be something that would be also handled by the Office of Economic Development? And if so, could they be brought into the conversation?
It's a very good question. I think that street, like the Viva Calle events, those are kind of like a multi-departmental effort. DOT actively participates in those. The challenge is to manage the street closures. It requires funding to do that. So we have Viva Calle once a year. And through a grant that the city obtained, we were able to support Viva Calle and expand the event 4 times per year, right? And we're looking at ways or strategies to kind of like build up from there. But we don't have plans to make it like a recurrent weekly event as, other cyclodia events in other countries. in part because of the associated costs necessary for the street, for managing the street closures. That it typically involves some of the police department involvement and multi-departmental involvement, and there's a cost associated.
No way to mitigate.
I'm sorry?
No way to mitigate those costs.
Well, the way that we've addressed that is through sponsorship, right? So I think Office of Economic Development makes a lot of that through business sponsorship and, DOT is supporting with, grant raising, or seeking grants for that. But the level of funding required for like a weekly, street closure, we're nowhere there yet.
As someone who participated in my first VBIC in the last one, it was so much fun, but you could just see the logistics required and the, just the entire setup to close 6 miles and east side. But it was so much fun. Yeah, I'll do the next one too.
Okay, to recognize, I'm sorry, introduce yourself. Briefly.
Yeah. Jordan Moldau. I'm a D3 resident in Japantown. I'm also the chair of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, but I'm speaking on behalf of myself. There's definitely a lot of great things to celebrate here with regards to transportation improvements for climate, but also some things that we still need to do better on. Downtown Quick Strike is definitely a beacon up there. It's been beautiful. We actually had a person I've never met before came to BPAT on Monday, all the way from South San Jose to come and say that the new bike lanes downtown are amazing, and he started biking to work because of it. So that's the kind of thing that we need, is to make facilities that are really comfortable for people to use, and they will change their behavior to match. I was in San Francisco yesterday. So many people biking despite all the hills, because they have committed to putting in great bicycle infrastructure everywhere. So we need to keep the momentum and increase the momentum. In terms of, not everyone wants to hop on a bicycle, but people will hop on an e-bicycle because it does a lot of the work for you. So I really hope that we can do more to expose our residents to e-bikes. I was disappointed to not see any e-bikes at the Ride and Drive event last month. I was told that they thought that Lime was going to bring them, and they didn't. But even then, there's still advantage to bringing in multiple bike vendors, and especially if you can get some people to bring in cargo bikes. Is that my time?
Just to see, you can finish, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cargo bikes, because people can't replace their car trips because they're like, oh, I need to get groceries. Oh, I need to bring my kids someplace. And if you expose people to cargo bikes, they'll be like, wow, I think I can actually do this. So I really would like us to expose more people to e-bikes, and especially cargo e-bikes. And I heard at council on Tuesday that there hasn't been as much usage of EV rebates because all the prices have gone up and everything's so expensive. But that's a great opportunity to capture people who might be interested in buying an e-bike. So I hope we can help people get exposure to e-bikes and help them purchase e-bikes. Thank you.
Make it quick. I retired 5 years ago, but I used to work in Milpitas, and I would try to bike up there, and it was going through San Jose was fine, no problem. Once I got north of the airport, it was. Do you guys try to coordinate it all with the neighboring cities on bike paths to get continuity on longer transits?
I know the DOT is focusing on developing a cohesive and robust network for the entire city, but we also have trails that communicate with our bikeways. So I know that we coordinate as much as possible with neighboring jurisdictions, but our main focus is to close the loops within the city. So you could basically go anywhere within the city using bike.
City would love this year. It was going beyond going north.
I can actually add something to that. there's a shoreline levee project going on at the regional wastewater facility. So one of the goals is to make that pedestrian friendly once it's completed and actually connect the Milpitas Trail into San Jose right through there. So it is in the plans.
Yeah. These are some very long-term projects that are really starting to bear fruit. So it's really, thank you so much for coming and bringing us up to date on this. I appreciate it very much. Yeah. So with that, I'd like to move on to new business item B, the outreach and engagement strategy.
And just so you know, the time on there is for 2 presentations. So Oshi's going to present on San Jose clean energy outreach and engagement, and then I'll present on the climate smart outreach and engagement.
Oh, okay. So there's it's a twofer.
Yeah, but we can have questions in between that will be separate.
So I give each 17 minutes.
Sure. Sounds right.
We'll make it 15 like.
So yeah, we're gonna skip ahead to attachment F, I think it is in the packet. Yes. And then we'll go back.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Oshi Jocko, and I am with San Jose Clean Energy. I'm going to present on outreach and engagement from 25-26. And I also will be joined by Sadi Rojas, who is an energy program specialist, and she was going to report as well. So for the agenda for this presentation, I'm going to do an overview and talk about tactics and performance of the outreach and engagement that we've done. And Sadi is going to talk about the Go Electric, electrification, education, community resources, and events. So San Jose Clean Energy's outreach and engagement, our goal really has been to increase awareness of San Jose Clean Energy's value and drive participation in customer programs. This includes, giving an overview of San Jose Clean Energy, billing information, electrification, education, and customer programs, highlighting our connection goals to climate smart, a focus on environmental justice communities, and get a really good pulse of the customer awareness of San Jose Clean Energy in our community, what programs they would want, and even discuss some of the needs. We do this using tools such as collateral and material, and they primarily are used to educate and increase awareness. We have them in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. We also did a website refresh so that the website now has programs easy to find and focus on the electrification education. Since we refreshed the website about 9 months ago, our average in the early 2025 timeframe was about 12,000 unique visitors a month. And now we have about 32,000 unique visitors per month. So it's about double. We built out an entire section on Go Electric. We've now made it more ADA compliant, and is now to ensure equitable access for all users. And we've developed a section about news and blogs to help better educate the community on electrification. Another tactic we use are emails and newsletters. This is actually our best channel engagement with our community. We have a 53% open rate. And just so you know, for a utility company, the average open rate is about 24%. So it's almost double. So this tells us that the information that we're providing our community is what they want to hear. And 2, they expect our newsletters and emails to provide them with very, very useful information. So this is our number one tactic.
How are you getting the email addresses? Is it by residents?
They are customers.
Yeah.
You know that they open the newsletter and they actually you have a dwell time, or
We don't have a dwell time, but we have click throughs. So we can see a heat map on which subjects were really,
And of that 32,000, are there a decent number of click-throughs?
Absolutely. Actually, all the way through to, applying or doing a pre-application for our programs. So this is actually all the way through to the conversion of program participation. This slide talks about integrated campaigns. So we've created a new strategy to not just only do email newsletters, we do integrated campaigns so that we can have different touch points of messaging, because sometimes people aren't on emails, but they want to see it on Facebook or something like that. So we try to launch it in different, whatever message we have in different channels at the same time, so that repetitiveness kind of helps with supporting the message that we want to get out there. And in the last 9 months, we've deployed over 26 campaigns that included digital, print, events, and web for program participation. It also helps that we had some awesome programs that we got to launch this year. So a lot of activity. For example, we have a EV instant rebate program that's going on right now. That's about saving up to, and we provide a $4,000 rebate at point of purchase for a new or used vehicle. And the campaign that we ran actually got some pretty good numbers. It had 650 pre-qualifications applications submitted and 486 approved claims. And that turned into, so far, 241 cars sold. But just so that you know, I just got an update from programs today that we're at 300. So now we've sold 300 electric vehicles. 46% of them have been Carefera families, and 54% have been 40 to 100% AMI families. So these are a really good number of our lower income has taken advantage of this. As you can see, the integrated campaign included billboards that were located near used car dealerships and such. And on the bottom left are pop-up point of purchase tabletop signage about the rebate, and this was an example of a flyer for that. And we did have these in 3 different languages, even our billboards. Another tactic we use is digital and social media. This has been something that we found has been increasingly, it's been getting much better over time. Because of it, we've increased our social media by 12%. Our Google search, for example, in Eco Home has been amazing. Google search usually is about 4% click-through rate. We get it over 10% in a lot of our programs, even people boards. So Google search is where people are like researching, I want rebates for my home or something like that. And so I match keywords with a lot of their search. So what we found also, Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, has been a really great channel for the Vietnamese population. Meta is about a 1.37%, and Meta Vietnamese, for example, is 1.59%. So it's been great to see that increase, and we've had, and it's tied into actual program participation.
With a question. Is do you have to inform the switches on, or do they remotely track what's going on in San Jose? do you know how up to date, like, you know, someone goes on, switches on, are they gonna, is it gonna be guaranteed to be up to date on San Jose offerings?
We have to tell them.
We have to tell them.
Yeah.
You gotta tell them,
Yeah.
I see. And does it work smoothly or?
Yes.
Um. The next are community events. So we have participated in about 73 community events throughout the city. We make sure that we're, you know, in events that are in every single district. We also provide Spanish and Vietnamese speaking bilingual staff at these events so that no matter what, there's always somebody to answer their questions. Our community events are really important because this actually puts a face to the, you know, to our name. And we answer questions about bills, educate them about our programs, and we've had a reach about 89,000 people in these last 9 months, and engagements are around 4,500. And engagement means like actual conversations, you know, where they ask questions or they want to get to know. So we make those counts.
Is there any just like consolidated list of all of the community events that San Jose Clean Energy is planning to attend so that community members like show up and visit the booth and show our support and stuff?
And we do have an internal list, but we can figure out a way to add that to our events list on our website so that you can see what events will be attended. It's a great idea. Thank you. One of the new ideas that we had this year was to get a little bit of attention was that we had Santa Go Electric this year at Christmas in the Park. It actually did very well for us. It got a lot of education. I mean, people educated about electrification. I don't know if you know, but there's like a waiting line that had to go to see Santa, and we had little signs with QR codes about you know, sign up for peak rewards or learn about this or that. So families spent about 10-15 minutes in line waiting for Santa. So they were able to learn a lot about San Jose Clean Energy and about electrification. And this also had a very good result in actual people participating in our programs.
And just to make a quick comment, I think this is wonderful you did that. And by virtue of one of the photos here, what's really also additional awesome is that you're not just talking with the adults, you've got the children coming through and learning as well, and getting familiar with what you're doing.
I think you can talk about our next slide.
I know.
Oh, I did.
So
There it
good.
is. Yeah, there they are.
We also launched our first children's book called Betty the Brave Little Battery, and we distributed those books during Christmas in the Park. And what's exciting about this is we are now going to partner with San Jose libraries, and we will be doing book readings in the community starting in June during the summer. And we're going to be working on. Right now they're in English, but we're going to be setting up book readings in Spanish and Vietnamese as well.
I just wanted to say, if you're looking for community volunteers on this, especially like students, there are definitely lots of people who want to help out.
Yeah, and now that it's summer, they'll be available to do so. Thank you.
I'm just sort of curious, this is a sidebar now. Who wrote the book? Is it internal or did you hire an author?
I read the book.
You wrote it.
I read the book. Oh, thank you. Well, we're gonna have book 2 in October.
Got a side gig going.
Yeah, so no, not really excited. That's why volunteers are there.
What's the title of the second book? This.
Quiet to Watt Saver.
Okay.
Does it target the same page? Like,
Yeah, so very. And thank you for that feedback about bikes. We didn't have the greatest representation about e-bikes we did last year, but good point. So thank you. The EV Ride and Drive actually did pretty well for us. We received 144 EV Instant Rebate pre-qualifications because of that event. But I thank you for that feedback, and I'm going to add that to our report. And our list of upcoming activities, like I mentioned before, Betty and the Battery will be at the San Jose, at several San Jose libraries, book reading story times. We're also partnering with Public Works on Energy Efficiency Awareness Month in June. We've developed a new enrollment postcard of our past postcard when somebody becomes a new customer. We send them a postcard that says, "Hi, we're San Jose Clean Energy. Here's our terms and conditions." We updated it because we have all these wonderful programs.
2 minutes.
We'll be doing a direct mailer for EVU instant rebates, and like I mentioned, we will be launching a new children's book in October. Thank you.
That's great.
For the mailer on the EV instant rebates, is that at all targeted, or is it just to all households or all?
It's targeted to only those who are eligible for the rebate. So CareFair or people who are 100%.
So everybody who's eligible and no differentiation within that.
Do we have a couple more slides?
Yeah, can you go to the next slide with these?
Oh yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
I'll be quick.
Yeah.
So Go Electric Education is part of our suite of programs and is intended to serve as a foundation for our busy residents to learn about clean energy. Our goal is for this programming to serve as sort of a launch pad that empowers customers with the knowledge and resources they need to take the next step in electrifying. And community partnerships are an essential part of making sure our content and programming are relevant. Plus, they increase our reach so much, especially for those customers who need our support the most. So through years-long relationships and a competitive RFP last year, we formed partnerships with 7 local organizations. Their logos are up there. Under the Go Electric section of our website that Oshi mentioned earlier, customers can now find the educational events page where we spotlight events that will take a deeper dive into explaining clean energy technology and programs. And we host events in multiple languages, as you'll see on the next slide, which is my last slide. So here are some upcoming Go Electric activities. During this meeting, actually, we had an EV webinar in English where I got word from my colleague we had over 100 attendees. In a few weeks, we'll host the same type of webinar in Spanish. At the end of June, we're hosting an in-person heat pump and eco-home workshop in Vietnamese. And then also this summer, one of our partners is going to start the distribution of 150 free induction cooktops to renters in East San Jose. Yes.
Are you seeing an uptick since the war on the interest in the EVs?
Yeah. Yes. That's yes. That's all.
Okay. I got one other question. I know you kind of need to be careful about this, but are you guys mentioning at all to people that with the new rate structure, the income graduated fixed charges, that the volumetric rates can be very favorable in a sense, much 15% to 20% drop in the volumetric charge?
No, we're not. That's PG&E's kind of rate design, and so we're letting them be the notify customers about it.
What rate drop? I'm sorry, what rate drop is this?
Well,
The income graduated the fixed charge. It's called base services charge, but it splits customers into 3 groups, and
paying a fixed charge. And actually, it works better for electrification the more you use.
But that's, yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, right, with the new rate structure that went into effect March 1st in PG&E district, like the volumetric, well, the PG&E rate, and ours is supposed to be PG&E, on like the EV2 off peak is down to 22.5 cents per kilowatt hour. That's like a 20% reduction from what, or 21% reduction from what it had been. And in other time periods and rate plans, it's maybe 13 to 15% or something like that. But it's an important detail which was like, I can't understand it's not being aggressively promoted by anybody as far as I'm concerned. And it may not be, tomorrow, rates may go up, but for the time being, it's a selling point. A lot of people have the impression that, like funding a car, charging a car is very expensive, but there's a 20% drop right there that just went into place in March. So important detail.
Yeah, it's a really good point. We're going to be doing a lot of education about the importance of just middle of the day energy usage in general, and especially for charging.
Good.
So shall we get to thank you very much. We appreciate that. I'm happy to have a budding author in our midst. So now the second part of section B now is
we're gonna jump back a few attachments to the climate smart outreach and engagement.
And you can get this in 15 minutes, I hope.
Yeah. I haven't practiced much, so. All right.
I'll stare at you uncomfortably.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm used to it. So this is sort of complementary to what San Jose Clean Energy does. Climate Smart. We can go to the next slide. A little bit of a refresher. Our main focus areas are really around energy and mobility, but we do also message somewhat about water. It is still part of the Climate Smart plan, though it's not one of our major sources of greenhouse gas emissions. We don't speak as much about that. Some of our goals are to be equity driven, reaching all communities, especially those that are the most impacted by the effects of climate change. And outreach really is a key tool to drive participation in our programs as well as behavior change, even though that can take a really long time to see the effects of. So these are just a few highlights of what we've done over the last fiscal year. So it feels like we've been in energy department for a long time, but it's only been a year now. So when we moved from environmental services into the energy department, Climate Smart, we didn't feel like it made sense to really message on San Jose Clean Energy because our messaging really does, it is a broader scope than what San Jose Clean Energy generally messages about. So it was sort of a grassroots effort. We created our own social media channels and have been growing those over the last year. We've done 74 social media posts and 4 press releases. We've also had 42,000 plus website visits so far in the fiscal year. And then we also have been working on our quarterly newsletter in 4 languages. So this was the first full year that we released our newsletter. Also, in terms of community engagement, we've done 17 presentations and 12 community events. We also do resident surveys. We did 3 this year and received 661 responses, which is a 2% increase. And then we also have our annual Climate Smart Champion Awards, which I mentioned earlier, that are coming up for this fiscal year. And we have, last fiscal year, we had 7 awardees. And then we also did our youth video contest with Silicon Valley Youth Climate Action, which was a really big success, and we are hoping to do that again next year. And then accessibility and equity, we've expanded our outreach. Previously, we were messaging in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese, but now we've been making an effort to also translate all of our material into Chinese. 46% of our new materials have been translated into Chinese so far. And we've also expanded our multilingual listserv audiences, which is where we distribute our newsletter as well as other communications to people through. And that is voluntary. So we do have a sign up on our website for people to sign on to. So we don't unfortunately have the customer base that people are automatically engaged in, but we do have a pretty decent number of people. I don't have the exact number, but we do have a pretty decent number of people that subscribe to our listserv. So some of the themes of what we're messaging, living smarter today for a brighter tomorrow, making smart choices for our climate. We do try to message about the positive health impacts and cost savings, as well as ease of use when you electrify. We also message about our Climate Smart Challenge, which hopefully you all know we have a bingo challenge going on right now for people to take actions in the Climate Smart Challenge, where there'll be a raffle at the end of it. And we do try to tailor our messaging by audience, trying to reach the specific audience that's relevant to whatever program we're messaging about. And we do try to always have an action associated with whatever we're messaging, so people feel empowered to be able to do something. And then also multilingual and culturally relevant communication to the best of our abilities. Sometimes that's more challenging. And then we also try to make sure that our messaging is aligned with city priorities. So who we're reaching? We do a pretty good job of engaging with English-speaking residents in the community, homeowners, community-based organizations, and advocacy and environmental groups. Some of the areas that we're trying to expand upon, we are having some success in areas, but we definitely would like to do better, reaching our Spanish-speaking, Chinese-speaking, and Vietnamese-speaking community members, as well as more concerted efforts to disadvantaged communities, multifamily residents, and renters. Youth in schools is an area that we are trying to broaden our scope on. I do feel like youth have been generally receptive to our messaging, so we tend to have good success at like tabling events, speaking with people. Youth do tend to ask questions and be very interested in the topic, but we do want to have more involvement and a presence in schools and libraries, things like that. Businesses has always been a challenge, so that's an area we're hoping to expand upon. And then we're also trying to continue to educate city staff and leaders who aren't always aware of some of the internal programs and policies that we have. So just trying to continually educate people and have them keep in mind some of the goals of Climate Smart when they're creating their own programs and policies. So, for fiscal year 26-27, these are just some of our proposed outreach tactics. So tabling in events, continuing to grow in that area, trying to partner with San Jose Clean Energy whenever possible. Sometimes it's nice if we have a table next to each other so our messages can kind of complement each other and we can sort of send people to that table if they have certain questions and so forth. Also, we're trying to engage more with the library. So we're trying to basically add ourselves into established meetings and events that are happening at libraries. But so, for example, one of the things that we've recently tried to partner with are Fix-It workshops that are happening in libraries. We felt like that might be a good community that would be receptive to our messaging and maybe interested in some of the topics and learning more. We also are working on our messaging materials, trying to make sure that the messaging is audience specific. For instance, businesses has been a challenge. So trying to think about what are the tactics that work with building owners and businesses in the community and what is the messaging that resonates with them. Also expanding our partnerships. So we do have some wonderful community-based organization collaborations, but we are trying to expand into some communities that maybe we haven't always had great success reaching people. So finding some of those organizations that are respected and like trusted in the community so that maybe we can, attend some of their meetings and, provide messaging about what Climate Smart is doing in the community. And then also digital and tools. We want to do some edits and revamping to our website. We do have some pretty dated materials that are on the website. So we're just trying to go through, streamline, make it more concise, update the messaging. We just did our 2025 Climate Smart Plan update. So we want to make sure that the messaging aligns in all places. And we're also doing a big ADA accessible work plan over the next year. It's 2027, I think, is the goal for all of our posted materials online to be fully ADA accessible. So that includes all our PDFs, the materials that we have to go through and make sure that for people who maybe have vision impairment, that they are completely accessible to everyone who's going to our website. Our outreach focus for the next fiscal year, expanding again, community-based organizations, particularly Spanish and Vietnamese speaking organizations, shifting towards ongoing programming instead of us creating our own independent event. We would be attending already established reoccurring events where there is already, regular attendance at some of these events, improving audience targeted material and messaging, strengthening our public facing tools. That also includes our social media. That's something that we are trying to continue to grow our presence. We've only had our own social media for a year, but we feel like we've been pretty successful for the first year, but that's definitely an area where we do a lot of our messaging. So we definitely like to get more people following us on Instagram and Facebook, and we do have a TikTok page too. We also are trying to focus on practical and action-oriented engagement. So budget and staff, we're a little slim in this area, so we try to do the best we can with what we have. So right now we're anticipating up to $56,500 for our budget, but that won't be final until the budget is passed. Currently we only have 25% of one full-time employee that is dedicated to climate smart messaging. We do have other staff that will volunteer to do tabling at events and things like that. And then we're also currently going after some potential fellowship opportunities that are very community engagement and outreach engagement focused that would help to supplement our 25% of an employee. So here's where I would love some input and ideas from all of you. If you have thoughts on communities that maybe we're not reaching effectively, I'd love ideas and suggestions. Are there organizations that you can think of that maybe we should try to reach out to? Are there activities that we should continue or maybe not continue doing? And in particular, if you had to prioritize 3 things that we would really focus on this fiscal year, what would they be? Because we are going to be dealing with a limited amount of time and budget for the next year. So thoughts would be appreciated.
It may be a moot point depending what the air district does, but have you guys ever considered having an emergency water heater program? We frequently run into people who, water heaters out and they want a replacement, in the next 2 days or something like that.
It's not something Climate Smart in particular has looked into. I don't know if San Jose Clean Energy has ever looked into an emergency water heater program or anything like that.
An emergency water heater loader program. We have studied those. Other CCAs have run them, but they're just very, very costly. And more contractors are able to get the installation done within 24 and 48 hours. So we're seeing speed on that end that we feel pretty confident.
I see.
But we're continuing.
But I keep running into cases where, the gas water heater's out and they just want to replace it. It's the easiest thing to deal. Whereas if the city had a kind of a program that they could push the electric. I know it might be a moot point, but the air district, they can tap the year, but probably the air district will push it out.
So you know about permitting if you have to get the electrical in place.
Yeah, but there's 120 volt water heaters. There's 120 available. For certain cases, it's simple. It's like it going into the garage and it's 120. They exist. They're on the market now. There are multiple suppliers. Yeah.
And there's a new GE model that is 120 and it can convert itself to 240. So you can put it in as 120 and then when you're ready.
I didn't know that, but I was wondering if it makes sense.
Well, that's not.
Well, I don't know.
Sorry, you're understanding the page.
Yeah. I actually read this before this meeting and I lost lots of thoughts. So I'm going to go through as quickly as I can. Audience, I think the next big language is Tagalog, I think is the 5th biggest language in this area. So I guess that makes sense. Many of them are fairly low income too, is my understanding. Other ones that make sense to me are senior and adult daycare centers, religious organizations. I personally know somebody who found out about visitation rights to their grandchildren through a church event. And like, this person didn't know about that. But, and again, it's not related to climate, but like, you could teach people new things through churches and other religious organization events is kind of my point. Other media like podcasts to the point of ADA and stuff. I think formats like podcasts is one ADA friendly and reaches a different set of audience. Tabling at things like farmers market might be also nice too. I know you guys, human resource times, whatever. If you guys need a volunteer, I will volunteer on personal capacity. To answer your three big things, I think affordability is by far number one. Like whatever, like it's not expensive to take action. Like, even things like not eating less meat is climate friendly and usually less expensive, right? So like to that end, like I went to, I think you sent out an email about the 5-year plan of City of San Jose, and I went there and there was actually a good number of people there, perhaps at Bascom, perhaps because there's free food and everybody loves free food. So I was thinking, I was wondering if like you guys could do something similar, maybe serve vegetarian food because it's more climate friendly, and like have a bunch of people, a bunch of like posters or whatever they're called, and like there's a good engagement. Some people were against more housing, but then I'm sure we'll get some anti-climate folks there too. But like I think a dedicated event like that would be pretty cool too. So those are my thoughts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I think.
Sorry, if it touches on that, please go ahead.
Separate suggestion.
Okay. So I have, first of all, thank you, Rio. I really like those suggestions as well, so I want to back up those.
2 minutes.
Also, let's see. For the engagement of youth and schools, I know a couple of examples of youth internship programs that have been, one through Peninsula Clean Energy, one through UTA. The Peninsula Clean Energy one in particular is focused on the high school student interns working with their schools and school districts to electrify campuses and to educate students about energy. Would there be interest? I know there would almost definitely not be budget, but it doesn't need to be paid necessarily, to establish some sort of internship with students in schools to try and access the school district audience for that sort of outreach.
I think that's a really interesting idea. That's something that we've definitely never looked into, so I don't even know what the requirements would be, but I'd love to reach out to some organizations and see what that entails. Climate Smart has always had a level of support of internships and fellows. Actually, most of our team were previously fellows in the city, so that's definitely something that we're really passionate and love, supporting people in the community. So I definitely think being involved in an internship would be a really interesting perspective and opportunity. I like that idea.
Hey, and small additional thing, has Climate Smart or Sounds Like actually maybe pursued internships that are like funded by the students' universities? I know there are a couple of those.
We're
That
working
we
with
know
San
of.
Jose State, actually, there aren't much funding for internship. Quite frankly, the universities are looking outward for internship
I
money.
think one of the other challenges that we have with the city, most city internships are 2 years. There's a lot of just cost in getting somebody onboarded and time involved in getting somebody just into a city office. So generally we do prefer interns with a little bit of longevity. So that sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge. Like we get a lot of people around this time of year asking if we do summer internships. And honestly, it just doesn't work because by the time that they get up to speed, then the summer's over and they're going back to school.
So we're out of time for this thing. I want to make sure that I get Bill and Christine.
Real quick, homeowners associations, have you been looking into those? Because those are, to me, or like the villages you came in to our event, and it was well received.
Yeah.
I think there's opportunity there for interaction with homeowners associations.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the community-based organizations, I think maybe one suggestion would be to kind of identify like an advocacy program or something where you can kind of bring in certain folks who are more green-minded and train them and basically have them be kind of foot soldiers to do XYZ for a month or a quarter. And that'll really help you scale kind of your very lean team. In terms of youth, I can speak for middle school. I'd say going into it from an ASB perspective is where maybe we could, get some influence to get a middle school to ASB to have a green goal or something like that.
What's the ASB?
Associate student body.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Because I was thinking about maybe go through PTAs, but you got to go directly to the students somehow, and then do that communication education that way.
Do you know how to reach those ASVs?
It's usually managed by a very dedicated teacher. So I know one at my son's school, and I support and help her a lot. But I can float the idea and then see, but they meet every Wednesday. The kids do different things specific to the school. I mean, I can see them doing like a group cleanup effort community wide during Earth Month, something like that.
Yeah, just relevant to that. We were just awarded this Bloomberg Youth Climate Action Fund grant. So we're going to be working to put out micro grants to the community for youth-led projects over the next year. So it would be youth ages 15 to 24, grants from $1,000 to $5,000. So they are very small projects. But I think that reaching out to some of these student groups would be a really great way to promote that.
Yeah.
Thank you all. I appreciate all that. That's really great feedback.
But that will probably wrap up item B. And move on to item C. And item C is the commission work plan for FY 2027, attachment G. We were,
Is that me too?
what's that?
I forgot I had more in here. I thought it was done.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's always an adventure.
Yeah, those are just kind of yeah, just in case anybody's curious. Yeah, thank you. The other two attachments, attachment B and attachment E, those were just kind of supplemental to the presentation before. So it's a little bit about the budget and how it's all broken down for our outreach and engagement, and then a little bit more in depth about our plan for next year. So feel free to read through that, but that was just sort of additional.
Very nice.
So where are we? Oh no, we're to the work plan. Okay. No, this is good stuff. I like this conversation. Okay, so this is our draft work plan for the next year. So at this point, it's really just opening this up to all of you. Are there things that maybe you want to make sure are incorporated into the work plan? I would say if there are small items just for discussion that you don't think the commission, it's more just like you want an update from, a department. I don't think that necessarily needs to go in the work plan, but if there are things that we would want to take an action or provide feedback to P&E on, those should probably be incorporated into the work plan. So if anybody has ideas for anything that is maybe not included on here that you would like to see, I can always adjust this. We're planning to take this to Transportation and Environment for approval in August of this year. So we will have our July meeting. So if there are edits, I can always bring it back for final approval as a next Tuesday. So
When is the July meeting?
we actually will be technically setting that at this meeting. So tentatively it would be the third Thursday in July at 6 p.m. if we want to just continue this schedule, but that is up for discussion at the end of, we'll have the work plan, the annual report, and then we'll finalize what the schedule will be for the next fiscal year. Yeah.
I have maybe two potential additions. One is on data centers and particularly their energy use. I think it would be really beneficial to have some sort of report, probably from energy department, kind of walking us through the plan of how we are going to bring in the level of data center development that is the city is actively pushing for and like economic development and other departments, while not noticeably increasing fossil fuel use in our electric procurement. I think that obviously that's a lot to fit into a single report, but trying to start the conversation on that would be really helpful.
Yeah, that sounds, so our, we did have the integrated resource plan recently that touched on that. It was definitely a piece of the conversation, but I can definitely touch base with them and see if they would come back and do a little bit more of like a deep dive into specifically the data center piece of that. I know that they actually are currently working with a consultant to do a little bit more research into how all of this will work. So there may be a relevant update related to that coming soon. So I can touch base with them.
Yeah, and then the other thing is kind of a lighter thing for the Youth Climate Action Grant. I wonder if at some point there might be some sort of like either within the process, like a call to action with support from the commissioners, or something like that within the process, or updates at the end of on how it went and what projects are underway.
Absolutely. I definitely am going to need help with all of it. So yeah, I would love to engage the commission on it. I just had the kickoff call today. So the next step is going to be to start working on the application materials. The tentative timeline that Bloomberg anticipates is releasing the applications in mid-July to mid-September, sometime in that time frame. So hopefully maybe the next meeting I could bring back something about like the applications. We get to choose like 4 focus areas, so maybe I could get you an update at that point. And then the goal would be to have all the projects complete before Earth Day next year. So yeah, hopefully there'd be a commission meeting that would align, maybe the March commission meeting. I could also come back with some updates about where the projects are and information on the awards ceremony and stuff.
What was the age range again?
15 to 24.
Bunch of those 2 blocks away.
What?
There's a bunch of those 2 blocks away at the university.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were already talking about what Calm University, I think, is the group at San Jose State, and I think they have a sustainability club too. So yeah.
Planning is still dragging their feet on our ordinance thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that needs to be on here, but I might call on you guys if that's these guys.
Even if it's, I mean, I think an update we can easily just like pop in, but yeah, I also
This discussion right now is not just July, right? It could be
for the whole entire
right,
fiscal year. Yeah.
I mean, you got time.
Well, it's only been almost 3 years now, so.
Has there been any discussion around lightly supporting, and I don't mean financially, but maybe with education, the whole new balcony solar movement that's happening? Have you discussed that at all? And I realize, that, I mean, that's sort of just a burgeoning thing right now.
It's something that pops up for a little while and a lot of people will be talking about it and then it just sort of fizzles out and we don't hear a lot about it again. I definitely think it's on our radar, but it's maybe not been a major focus.
I think the most action is state.
Yeah,
right?
it is. In fact, it passed the bill. I don't know what's in the bill.
It's state level, it's Sacramento.
Right.
It's a lot of issues there.
Is that funding or balcony?
No, it's not
or what is it?
funding. There's a overcurrent. I mean, one problem I'm aware of is the overcurrent problem. The other problem is UL testing standards are not there yet. The overcurrent problem is a more difficult problem to deal with.
Yeah, things catching fire in apartments is usually frowned upon.
There's an overcurrent. There's an absolute simple algebraic overcurrent problem you can prove, but Germany and Europe are living with it.
Yeah.
Kind of made a determination that there was enough margin to live with it, strangely.
Right.
So,
Right.
so how California is going to choose to deal with it, I don't know.
How's Utah? How's Utah?
I think they're in trouble, but I think they jumped I'm not exactly sure if that. It'll be passed with it, I think. But there's still the UL testing standards. Just doesn't quite exist. So I think they're not fully, it's not fully up and running there, I think. Due to some of these problems.
Other than that, it's a pretty familiar agenda.
Yeah.
Any other feedback on it?
I guess the only thing that I'd also like to call out is that I did add this reoccurring like budget and program spending update. That was something that came out of the ad hoc committee. So those are sort of scheduled in there at every other meeting.
Also, I guess the question came up, but somewhere in the SJCE roadmap, there will be update on the new. There was talk of a new. What's the term? Super off peak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any advance info?
I haven't heard anything about it since the updates that Kate gave recently. I'm assuming a lot of this is going to have to do with like the budget process, even though San Jose Clean Energy has like their own funding source, they're still, part of the budget process of the city. So I think that all has to go through the powers that be and get the approvals, basically.
Really? It's not viable. It's not isolated from the city.
No, yeah, there's, most of the programs work at least has to go through, like the programs roadmap has to be presented to council and get approved before they can move forward and it's part of the budget process.
So if the city has a shortfall, it will affect San Jose Clean Energy.
Well, not really. So it's complicated because we're sort of beholden to the city's approval, but at the same time, like San Jose Clean Energy does have their own budget, but it can only be used for very specific things. So like, there's only certain, which is part of the reason why Climate Smart is separate from San Jose Clean Energy, because not all of our work is what is considered to be like, what ratepayer benefit is basically like some of the terminology that they use a lot, determining like what can be covered by San Jose Clean Energy versus clients for general funding sort of things. Yeah.
All right. If there's no further feedback, I think we can wrap the work plan as we don't need to vote on it, right? This is informative at this point.
I think we probably should vote on it because it would, unless you want me to bring it back in an edited version, like if you want me to add in the things we talked about, I can bring it back in July where we would vote on it. But because it would be going to transportation and environment, we probably should vote to approve so that everybody's good with it at one point.
So what were the suggested amendments in the time?
Edits-
This is amendable at any meeting, right?
Yeah, technically we can change this throughout the fiscal year, but it does have to go back to transportation and environment to be blessed again. And obviously that's
Even for a minor little.
If we're doing like
It was still sticking
it's
in.
sort of at like staff's discretion when it goes back to TC. So
Well, then in that case, are there any natural? I'm
okay with it as is. Yeah.
I would move to approve it as is. I know I care about the data centers as well, but I also know it's very controversial, and I think. We may not be in a position to demand that. I think we need to sort of finesse that a little bit. And I would suggest that one of the existing presenters carry the data center message with them. I don't know where a natural place to put it is. Would that be, who of these current presenters might have something sensible to say about the data center strategy? Because I definitely agree that's in purview. Because I don't know. I don't want to add. I don't know exactly who we'd ask at this point.
The integrated resource plan is likely the one that that's the team that would likely have the information about like the procurement side of things. But that's an every 2 years process, and so that's not actually on the agenda for this year. But that said, I don't think there's a problem with there being a report out. Like, if the commission's not taking an action and they just come and like speak to you about what's going on, what are the challenges, I don't think that has to be reflected in the work plan.
Right, this is really stuff that we're making
This
recommendations
is
on.
mainly
Right, right.
around, yeah, the administrative
So
side of
the,
things.
so the,
that
so the,
commission
the
has
other
to
items
do,
that are,
and
so what we're saying then is we can approve this as is, and we can add informative
Yeah.
things on an ad hoc basis without
Yeah.
getting teeny involved.
ad hoc, or even just having someone come and, yeah, just.
Ad hoc is kind of a special word, getting a guest presenter.
We can just
I'm enforcing myself.
field a little questions in
Yeah.
the July.
So-
It's a clean energy July line item
Yeah,
possible.
for the
July 6th.
large load, tariff update, that one.
Oh. Well,
There might be
yeah,
some
I'm worried about
questions.
procurement. I mean, they're not gonna know the large, I mean, that's beyond their,
Mhm.
that's a state level, right? But I was worried about procurement. I
Yeah,
mean, there's multiple questions here, I know.
But is there a motion to approve as is with provision that can be mentioned? So,
Yeah, I must do.
okay, a second,
I'll second.
in favor? Opposed?
Oh, actually,
Were you, so you were originally opposed? Sorry?
I support it.
Oh, supporting, okay. So the motion passes unanimously?
Not, you know.
I
one
think-
abstention.
Sorry, what's that?
oh,
Okay, okay, with the one abstention.
but I'm happy to talk to the IRP team and see if they can provide an update and like what the timing would be that would make sense. If-
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
in different days of the month, yeah.
And again, this is also, of course, at any given time in the, in our, I think we usually have a spot at the end of the agenda
Mhm.
for proposals for the next item. We can always use that. I didn't see the specific item here. We usually have an open thing at the
Yeah.
end where we say, suggestions for the next meeting. So that's missing from this agenda. I don't know if it's, like, I think we normally have at the bottom, it's, discussion for the next meeting, but, I don't.
Oh, yeah, meeting schedule and potential agenda items for next meeting, yeah.
So that, I believe we'll, move on to the commission annual report.
Is it possible for me to just make a quick comment?
I'm sorry, yes, go on.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a quick statement that there's a lot of public concern about data centers, especially with respect to climate. And it seems to me, regardless of whether it's controversial, at the very minimum, to have information to this commission, which is kind of the voice of the community, the interaction between the community and the city. To me, that seems very important, and I think a lot of the community would agree.
I agree with it. It's very important and it is an important matter for the commission. The question is which body, which organ of the city would be the appropriate one to report. And I think we agreed that the
San Jose Clean Energy.
the San Jose Clean Energy, we're going to put San Jose Clean Energy on the agenda to talk about it. So that we agree with you. Thank you very much. Any further?
to your point, that's why I abstained.
Sorry?
To her point, that's why I abstained.
Okay. Yes, it's
It's directly.
so let me reach out. I apologize for saying it's a controversial matter. It's really, it's the trying to get the exact information of things that are exactly going on is sensitive, but certainly getting a readout of what's generally happening, I think is very important. I'm not entirely sure how the city is conducting their business with regard to negotiating with data center operators. But I do know it's with different cities, it's a sensitive matter, and I believe we should be. To your point, we should be part of it.
There hasn't been a lot of transparency coming from city council.
Yes.
So whatever it takes, we need more transparency.
Yes, I think the general report is great and as specific as possible as we can get with the report as well.
I mean, I guess that's, item G, the last item on our agenda. I will mention that when we come to that, but, yeah. For public record, that's why I abstained from voting.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I think we can move on to the annual report at this point.
Yeah.
That's attachment, I'm sorry, H.
Yes. So I did my best going back through the minutes of the meetings over the last fiscal year, incorporating status, accomplishments, and future goals and targets. So yeah, without like reading through everything, I know last year I didn't include a lot of like the commission actions that were taken. I did try to do a better job, but if there are any, glaring items that are not included, and again, this is one that I can bring back in July for a formal vote, but if anybody notices anything right now, that's something I can start working on. But yeah, if you feel like you want more time, I'm happy to bring this back in July to find.
Yeah, and since both Vic and Macwin aren't here, I'd like to make sure that their ad hoc committee, they believe their ad hoc committee is represented appropriately.
Sorry, just not this time.
It was Vic and Macklin
One.
and Monty were all down.
Oh, I'm sorry, Monty.
Okay.
I forgot. So maybe you can take a look and make sure that it's adequately represented.
I think it would not hurt to bring it back again in July.
Sorry, would
not
me too.
It would not hurt, yeah.
Would not hurt.
Would be helpful.
It would be.
Yes.
So thank you for reminding me. I apologize for overlooking.
I agree with that. I think we should just bring it back next month, give people a little more time, and those who aren't here an opportunity to post any opinions.
Okay. If people notice anything that's missing, or if even in the goals or future actions, if anything needs edits, please let me know.
And is this just for archival purposes, or is record read out to?
It goes to transportation and environment. Yeah.
Okay.
Usually it's consent calendar, but last year, Councilmember Cohen did ask us to actually present on the commission. So there's a chance that we can present on it. We haven't been.
Okay, so the transportation environment consumes this report
They
to
approve it.
identify the. All right. So then I think what we will do is we say we brought it up and that we're asking all the commissioners to review it before the July meeting and then vote in record in the July meeting.
Do we need a motion for that, or can we just do that?
I think
You just do it.
I think we'll just bring it back. It'll be on the agenda for the next meeting, so people know what's this stuff.
All right. And that brings us to the final meeting is the meeting schedule and potential agenda items for the next meeting. That will be the first meeting of the next fiscal year.
So we need to set the time and date for the next fiscal year at this point. So starting at the July meeting, but ideally we would put all the dates and times on the website so that the public would be informed of when, where, and when the meetings would be happening.
So I presume that in the attachment that we looked at just a moment ago, it has effectively the proposed dates.
The work plan should have, those, and I guess that's another thing, that if we change the date, that would need to update the work plan to reflect this.
I would just comment that I think it's wise to keep it on the third Thursday, because people who, members of the public, if they are following us, then that's their, they'd be familiar with that as the time to pay attention. So unless there's some strong reason not to, I'd say let's continue with.
My weak reason is that I won't be available on July 16th, but
Nor will I, but I'll be under the knife.
So
Getting a new hip.
Oh, wow.
So we can lose up to how many people for quorum?
Quorum 6, and we have 11, so that could be as many as 5 people.
Okay, so what's that?
I'll be here.
Okay, great.
I mean,
I-
I propose to
nothing is guaranteed.
I will take my first unexcused absence. So I don't think a family member's wedding counts. So.
No.
Yeah, I support keeping it the same as well for fairly selfish reason, actually, personally. I go out of my way to be like, do not schedule a meeting at 6 o'clock and I actually rejected a meeting today to show up here. I'm like, nope, goodbye. So, it works towards my own personal favor as well. So,
Do we need to vote on this?
It might be good. And do we like 6 p.m. as the start time? Do we want to keep that as well?
I think that's good for staff. And
that's
that's
yeah.
fine with me.
It gives some breathing room for people to get here, and 7 was a little just ran too late after 7.
Yeah.
So
Probably good to vote and just formalize.
So anyone have a motion to keep the meetings third Thursdays of every third month at 6 p.m.
Every second month, every second month,
Yeah.
every odd month,
every odd month.
every odd.
It's our
Yeah.
so
Right?
so somebody want to make a motion like that?
I'll make a motion.
I second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Now the thing is, we got that. Any other agenda items for the next meeting that we want to put on the table?
I would like a line item regarding data center in some capacity, even if it's informative. I think it's to the point that this is a public facing organization, and
Right.
to many people, climate is data center and vice versa at this point. Even if it's purely informative and we are not allowed to say a single word, I think we should still have it there.
And in fact, it is an item that's causing distrust among residents to the city, and something we should be transparent and address.
Definitely. I'll talk to Zach about who the appropriate person would be, and then I can coordinate with them for some sort of.
But we don't need to vote on the suggestions, right? You just take this.
No,
If we had thoughts about what we'd like them to address, can we send those to you?
yeah,
Would that be all
that's
right?
fine. Yeah.
My only concern about this is that it is a moving target. Things are changing constantly. I know there's all kinds of different ideas coming out about having the data centers provide their own energy. I think that it's good to have an update, but they can change the next day too.
My
Exactly.
counter argument to that is if that is the case, and that is, then we should have it on every single meeting, because I think it is that.
Well, yeah, no, I just, well.
So if anything, I think we ought to be aware of both the city's position, and if they don't have a position, their policymaking mechanism to make the position, and how we should participate in that constructively. I think that's the way I'm thinking of it. Because like it's moving fast, they may not have a policy. So, okay, well, if you don't have a policy, what's your mechanism to get a policy? And I think those are fair questions, because, I think we should be in the loop of any policy that's created.
And this is specifically to do with like procurement or climate and things like that in terms of.
And cost structure,
procurement.
Sorry, and
cost structure.
Policy.
I don't know that this commission could get into the cost structure for data centers, because we're really in a climate smart focus. So I don't know.
Well, we talk about costs all the time on various programs. We don't have to necessarily have comments that go to the council, but can we?
You mean cost structure in terms of like energy use or
impact on energy costs?
Impact on energy costs. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
And I very much support this item as well as leaving the possibility in the item for some sort of recommendation from the commission, whether it be to T&E or recommendation for how we would like the commission to be looped into future planning or policy drafting around climate relevant aspects of data centers, leaving the possibility for recommendation in that item as well.
Okay, yeah, and I would also encourage you, generally there needs to be a memo going to council for us to formally incorporate commission language. So if there isn't a memo, a recommendation letter from the commission is another route to go where someone could draft a letter and you could vote to approve. So that's it.
And again, it would be interesting to know if somebody from the T&E would want to come and talk to us about what they're up to or what they're thinking around that. So, and I don't know who the right people are, but you're right. We need a vehicle to get I don't think as a group we can, and I don't know that we can just, I don't know that we can just synthesize an unsolicited message into the sky because it's, I mean, that'd be fun and all, but we really wanted to ride on something that's got funding or decision-making in T&E in order to actually have an impact. In the meantime, we should be informed.
Yeah, that's a comment. I think it'll be, before worrying about any kind of comments, there's a lot of learning from what the constraints are that the city is dealing with, all the uncertainties and the procurement uncertainties, and so until we get that.
Right.
It's think about, and I mean, of course, we don't want much cost increase, but cost increase.
Okay. Any further items for the next meeting in July?
Oh, we can't. Oh, yes. Online is strictly viewing. I have to be in person.
And that's,
I know city council at least is it right? They're bringing back public comment online
Yes.
at some point?
Yes, there was a policy passed. We've been in touch with the clerk's office who has said that they, at least currently, are saying that that would not impact the commissions, but city council will be changing the way that they handle it. Yes.
so we're going to be allowing online comment in the future?
At city council.
At city council,
Yeah.
so they're
But as of
going to
right
gradually
now-
experiment with it.
As of right now, the clerk's office has told us that it will not be impacting commissions, but that could change. But as of right now, we're being told we aren't changing. Yeah.
Rules are rules.
Roy, do we have to move to close the meeting or do we
No.
just adjourn?
We can just adjourn.
So, hold on, one more. I don't want to close for it. That's why I like to have a move. Wait, one more thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, just one more thought on the data center item. I don't want to propose it now, nor do I know that I would even be able to propose it, but just putting the idea out there. Depending on how we feel after the report at the next meeting, potentially this would be a good topic for an ad hoc meeting.
I second that, but
Yeah.
You don't need to plan for an ad hoc committee.
Would you like me to put in potential discussion in ad hoc
Yes.
committee on the agenda?
Should we? If so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, even if it's not now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sure.
it's clearly something that's animated folks. So there may be more.
If so, yes.
Well,
And that's again, something I can talk with Zach because we'd have to figure out like what
Right.
staff member would be
Right,
involved in
what
stuff like
sound
that,
bite
but-
has,
But he can
just
like
gotta-
come
we just
prepared.
figure out what the output is and who's going to consume the output so that we're not just talking to ourselves.
Right. Yeah, like, and what our jurisdiction is too, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's like, we've got to have a customer for the product.
Right, yes.
So,
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
Thank you.
and seeking around, going once, going twice. All right, he's adjourned.
And
And tell me about the fix-it clinics. People keep talking about them.